While living in the apartments in Kent on Kent Kangley, it was a very interesting experience because it was sort of the ghetto. Lots of domestic disputes, which that's the first time as a kid I realized what a domestic dispute was. I learned so much. Yeah, so it was not uncommon to have lots of people screaming and shouting at you. I do remember when there was an earthquake. I slept right through it. I sleep through all natural disasters. I really do. But the reason why I knew there was an earthquake was I woke up and all the picture frames were like this. And I was like, oh, Mom, there was an earthquake. And she was like, yeah, I know. It woke everybody up in the entire neighborhood. Caused domestic disputes. Oh, awful. But I remember some good friends of ours, the DeMars. They lived next door. We would play Foursquare with them all the time. Foursquare is such a fun game. And we got some chalk out there and created all sorts of little cool squares, not just 4 squares, but maybe 5 squares or 3 squares. Mind blown. We also had a baseball diamond accessible. It was right on the other side of Sacagawea High School, which I'm pretty sure it's actually pronounced Sacagawea. I think that's how they pronounced it back then. But I digress. I'm going to call it Sacagawea because that rolls off the tongue better. And it's all about how it rolls off the tongue. Isn't that right? Well, this baseball diamond we called the Sandlot. You remember that movie, The Sandlot? Terrifying movie. I haven't seen it since I was like 8 or 9, and it just scared the bejesus out of me. But the Sandlot behind our house was pretty cool, except for the amount of fleas there were in this baseball diamond. Oh, there was a flea infestation one year. If you've ever had a flea infestation, it's awful. It's itchy. You have to put like plastic covers all over your mattresses so that they won't burrow in. You have to like frequently bomb your house, with those foggers. And you would just see piles of dead fleas after you bombed your house. Oh boy, it's making the back of my neck itch just thinking about it. That was a bad summer. Ugh. But we did have fun times out in the baseball diamond. We'd go out there when my dad got home from work, and he would try to throw a baseball at my sisters. They had horrible hand-eye coordination, and I would always miss it. But I wouldn't. I would make contact with the baseball and barely make it into the grassy section of the field. But most of it was sand. I do remember very, very distinctly on the 4th of July, we went out there and we lit off fireworks. What I remember about this in particular was one of the fireworks was a dud. And it was supposed to be lit and then just go straight up into the air. But it was a pretty big firework. It was made out of plastic. But this guy was a dud, and it sounded like a stick of dynamite going off. Have you ever had a firework be so loud that it sends off like all the car alarms, and it makes the people and all your neighbors poke their heads out the window and scream at you? That is a cool firework. Unfortunately, since the firework was all covered in hard plastic, this plastic turned into shrapnel. And I didn't get hit, but I remember it whizzing by me. I was just like, whoa, that was a cool firework. Such a rush. Woo! Yeah, we also did Halloween around there, which is really fun, doing like trick-or-treating in an apartment complex. I don't know if they do that anymore, but back then people were cool and you could walk around and get candy. I was a witch one year, and I remember very distinctly being the witch because it was this greasy face paint. I've since then got quite used to greasy face paint being a mime. But then it was just like disgusting, this green face paint, and I had this witch's nose that just smelled bad. I could barely breathe. Oh, and the hair was itchy, and I was just thinking, how can women have long hair? This is so itchy and hot. It was probably just a bad wig, or maybe there were fleas in the wig from the Sandlot. Oh, that's called recapitulation. Where was I? Oh yeah, I do remember our neighbors, the DeMars, awesome Christian family. They didn't do Halloween. I don't know if they still do or still don't, whatever. But then they didn't. And that really made an impression on me as a little kid. Oh, sorry, I'm just honking here because someone fell asleep at the wheel at a stoplight. She's probably like doing something stupid, like filming her memoirs or something like that. Ha! At the tender young age of 28, BeauCh was doing his memoirs in the car, and someone honked behind him. He didn't hear them honk. They got out and shot him in the face. Well, thankfully, it was all recorded on film. All right, where was I? Oh, Halloween. So they were a great Christian family. And, you know, we aligned theologically on everything except for this. Why did they not do Halloween? Aha! They said that they didn't celebrate Halloween because there was so much dark material surrounding it. And I still know other solid Christians who don't do Halloween, but as a little kid, I was a mature little kid, and I actually started wrestling and grappling with my theological views then. But it occurred to me that you can still participate in something, and you don't necessarily have to be celebrating it. You know what I mean? Like we did Halloween because it was all about dressing up in funny costumes and getting candy. I wasn't worshiping Lucifer by dressing up as a witch. Oh, just a moment. Hope this guy doesn't get hit. He did not get hit. Whew! I love this. It keeps you engaged. It really does. So anyway, I don't. Just because I read Harry Potter does not mean that I am going to be stumbling in my faith. Or just because I tell my kids about Santa Claus doesn't mean that I am telling them lies about the universe, and that someday, since I told them about Santa Claus and it turns out that he is a lie, then they're going to think that Jesus Christ is a lie also, and then their faith is going to waver. And I actually remember my philosophy professor saying that at my college, saying, don't tell your kids that Santa is real, because then someday they will associate that with God and with Jesus Christ, and they'll think that they aren't real also. And I'm listening to this going, you can still participate in something, but if you're mature about it, then, aha, keyword, mature, then it's okay. It won't make you stumble. Now, granted, there are some things like crack cocaine or sleeping around, basically living for your emotions and your passion, and you're doing that because those are the center. Those kind of things, there's no if, and, or buts about that. That is not tolerable within the Christian faith because they're so distracting. But something as innocent as like dressing up as in a costume, that's not distracting to your faith. If it's distracting to other people, then you shouldn't do it, because you should take their emotions into mind, or their faith into consideration. You know what I mean? So be careful with that. Don't think that just because you tell your kids about Santa Claus, they're gonna get some benevolent little fat elf that lives in the North Pole. Don't think that they're gonna get that myth mixed up with Jesus Christ, your Savior and the creator of the universe. There's kind of a difference between those two figures. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. Use your brain. Be mature, all right? But don't distract other people, because it's all about love.